Hello, friends. Made it back down to the homestead, and always got to check on the animals first thing and fill the water up. Chickens are doing great. The weather's still nice down here, and yeah, they're going to let them out today and let them roam around a little bit. But yeah, my three remaining chickens are doing awesome, and they very rarely come out of the coop now as the weather is turning colder. But today's a nice day, and I always want to walk through the yard just to make sure everything is good. And we'll just take a little stroll up the hill here and check on all the animals. And there's what I need to do left with the leaves that I brought down from Salt Lake City. We'll see. I only brought down 5 bags. So I'm not sure how far they'll go, but yeah, we'll check on all the kitties before we get started on any projects. So Miss Thing is waiting for me, and yeah, she's looking fine. And there's Willow, and I think Willow's now a resident of this property. He's here all the time. There's Theo up on the deck. He likes to sit there and wait for me to come out for scratches. And yeah, there's the garden. We need to cover that up with some kind of a mulch. So hopefully we'll see how far those leaves go today. Again, I brought down 5 bags, and we'll take a look at how far those go. But now, one of the commonly asked questions I get is, do chickens, domestic chickens, backyard chickens, do they have problems with the cats? And I just want to show you in this video some video proof that I have never had an issue with, adult cats, domesticated cats having any issues with adult chickens. And you're going to see several, as we look through this first part of this video, you're going to see several encounters, and there's absolutely no fear from the chickens, and there's no aggression from the cats whatsoever. Now, I did have the neighbor say that he'd lost a couple chickens recently, and he'd seen an orange cat, and he was going to blame the orange cat for the chickens. Well, I think it's my orange cat now, and I think he's wrong, because that cat has not shown any aggression toward my mature birds. Now here's Coquette, and she's always hiding in the rose bushes, and I'm going to show some interaction she has with the chickens too, but she's coming out for a scratch. Again, when I'm gone for a few days, I leave plenty of food and water in the garage, and they have a pet door and a heat lamp, so they're outside cats, but they're nice and toasty and well fed, even when I'm not here. So, scanning around, there's one of the Barnevilders. You see the size of that chicken. That's a big chicken, and that's probably a 5-year-old chicken. And you see sitting right next with Theo and Willow, and yeah, no issues. The cats are even getting along. They don't even fight hardly anymore, and they used to not like each other at all. So, yeah, they're all kind of settling in. The chickens are hand-tamed, but they're not going to come to me, but I can still scratch them if I get up and chase them around. But yeah, Theo enjoys the water, as I got the water filled for the cows, and they're drinking lots of water. So it's kind of important to fill this up. And when the weather changes, it's going to be tough, because I'm going to have to bring buckets of water down rather than using the hose, because that'll be all frozen. But here's another example of interaction with Coquette and the 3 chickens. And again, they're not worried about Coquette in the least. And Coquette's kind of more leery of them, I think. And so she's just going to kind of look at them a little bit, and yeah, she's just going to hop down, and no aggression whatsoever. So I think with chickens, you have some issues with bigger cats. Now, this cat could take down an adult chicken if it wanted to. I think you have more of an issue when you have the smaller birds. You have the chicks, the pullets, and then just the young, more immature birds. I think the cats could be a problem with them. But once you have mature, fully mature hens, I don't see cats as much of a problem. Now, other people may disagree with me, and they may have had bad experiences, but I think the neighbor's losing chickens to something else, not the cats. But who knows? But again, I've never lost a chicken to a cat, and I've had them always hopping in the pen in Salt Lake and chasing mice and other cats that I don't know. Never had an issue. Well, Miss Thing decided she was going to lead me to the garage door, and I didn't know what she wanted, but I found out later that she was leading me here because we are out of food, so we must have just barely ran out. So, yeah, she's telling me, hey, get in there and put some food in the bowls. So, yeah, I got back just in time. And here's the leaves that I brought down from my last video I showed you. I got 5 bags of leaves raked out of the yard, and the trees hadn't yet dropped all their leaves, so that's all I could get. And we're going to see how far they go. There's my kale, and it is looking a lot worse for wear. It's pretty limp, so I don't know if that kale is going to be any good for my BLTs or not, or if I ought to just pull it out. But yeah, we won't do that today. So there's the leaves that I brought down. And this is the last hoorah I think I'm going to have for leaves. It's funny because up down at the hobby farm, it's 6,300 feet above sea level. At Salt Lake City, it's about 5,500, I think, or 5,300. So it's a 1,000-foot difference. And the weather is often polar opposite, and from Salt Lake to down here. Now, as winter progresses and it gets cold both places, there'll be snow both places. But I found that I'll have snow in one area or one location and not have any at the other. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But the weatherman says that tomorrow is D-Day for snow down here, and the temperatures are going to be lows of maybe 13 and highs in the maybe high 20s. So yeah, I'm going to use these bags up and just kind of see how far they go, because I think this will be the end of the leaf bag season down here. Now, if the weather does improve and gets nice again and melts the snow off, I'll be able to collect more leaves from Salt Lake, hopefully, and bring them down and use them. But if not, this will be the last hoorah of the leaves this year. And again, I've got 5 bags, and that's not nearly enough to do this large of an area. I was hoping to get it all covered, and it's not going to happen, it doesn't look like, unless the snow holds off. And yeah, the weather stays nice in Salt Lake, so I can collect more leaves and bring them down. But yeah, I love my leaves. I love my obviously my wood chips. But in the back deed method, you can use any types of mulch. Anything that'll will cover the soil and protect the soil. And again, you want to suppress weeds. You want to retain moisture. This material will provide fertility over time, and it provides insulation to the soil life and the existing perennial plants that are in the soil. So yeah, it's all good. In the spring, you're going to want to remove a lot of this material wherever you're going to be planting plants, because you want the soil to warm up. And if you don't pull the mulch off, it's the seeds will not come up through this mulch. Even if you pull it aside and plant and then cover it back up, the soil will not warm and the seeds will not germinate. So yeah, you need to remove this material, but the easiest thing is just pull it in the pathways and use it and mulch in the pathways, and they'll break down, and then you can add that fertility and scoop it up on top of your beds later. So. Yeah, it's all part of the process, and it is a little bit of work, but it's free, natural materials. Again, the wood chips were not free, but leaves are free. You can get them anywhere as long as the the trees are dumping them out. And again, we had our leaf pickup in Salt Lake a month ago, and the trees didn't drop their leaves at that point in time. So there'll be some leaves that the neighbors will be collecting that yeah, I'll hopefully be able to grab some more. And I have a friend that has a lot of leaves that I'll be able to hopefully get a few truckloads. So we'll see how that goes, but. Yeah, I got all the leaves dumped out, and as you can see, yeah, there's not nearly enough there to cover everything. I want to do it pretty deep, and yeah, I'm just going to kick them out with my feet and see how far they'll go, but definitely not enough. Maybe about half of what I need, if that. But yeah, we'll see. Let's take a look here. So there we go. That's all the leaves I had, and yeah, they did cover up quite a bit, but yeah, you'll see it's about half of what I need to finish this last part of the main garden. Now, the bed that's closest to the tree there is where I usually plant my sweet peas. And it's partly because the tree is kind of late to leaf out, so the peas will come up. And then when it starts to, the tree leaves out, it's when it gets hotter, and then the peas can last a little longer because they'll get a little bit of shade. Now, I'm using the hose here for one reason. And I'm just watering these leaves in because with the cold temperatures, I want to lock these leaves down to the ground. I want them to freeze together, because if I don't, it's very windy down here. And yeah, wind blowing leaves around is kind of counterproductive, and it really kind of hurts my. The real problem I have is some drainage in my basement. So as you see how close to the pathway down to the sidewalk down to my back door is. So if those leaves blow, they're going to go right into my drains. And again, I've had water intrusion issues, from the big flood, but also just some regular rains when these drains have been clogged. So yeah, I've got to keep this, be vigilant, and keep these drains clear, so that I don't have water in the basement. Again, if it's mostly unfinished, the flooring anyway. So if I get a little bit of water, it's not the end of the world. But I'm kind of tired of getting water in the basement, and I'll be putting in a drain there, a long drain, and I'll be putting in the pipe and routing it around the wall there. So, and I really need to build the retaining wall, because this dirt is also a problem. So that dirt sloughs down and again clogs the drains, and then I got water in the basement with the sloped sidewalk down to the back door. It's just a recipe for disaster. So I got those leaves out from that drain. And yeah, it doesn't drain a lot of water. I don't know if there's a 5-gallon bucket under there or what. But here's where I'll be putting in the formal draining process or system. And I didn't quite get back to that this year, but I don't think snow, we're going to get enough water to be worried about it right now. But in the spring, that'll be one of my first projects, along with the retaining walls. And then I start working on my patio, my sunken patio. Well, here, I'm going to use all the raw materials that I produced down here. And those are some wood ash that I did for my last burn when you saw me. I was thawing out the hose so I could keep the cows in water. And there's not a lot there, so that's the elm that I brought down here from my rental house in Salt Lake. And again, you burn quite a bit of wood, you just get a little bit of wood ash. So, but then I remembered, hey, I can, if I don't have leaves, I got something else I can cover some of that ground with. If you remember from my videos, I have this big piece of plastic that I weighted down with some of the elm that the cows were always trying to get into and either eat or lick. As you see here, the cow sees me. I'm pulling this out, and yeah, he's right over there trying to see. And you see him; he starts licking his lips here in a second. He's thinking he can come over here and lick this plastic, but no, we're not going to let him do that today. We'll bring it up here to the garden, and we'll use that to cover the ground. And in the Salt Lake area, if the ground can be worked, you can plant peas as early as into February. And down here it's a little colder, but usually the ground's frozen. And so it takes a little longer to get the peas in the ground, and which means it takes them a little longer to mature. So I'm going to try this plastic this year, and being black, it'll attract some solar energy and some heat, and maybe I can get the peas in earlier this year if this black plastic does the job. And again, pea seeds, you just put them in the ground, and it doesn't matter how cold it gets; they just sit there until it warms up, and they grow. So frost does not hurt peas. Peas are a pretty bulletproof crop. So got it all covered and weighted down with some of my old junk that I got laying around, some old wall brick and different stepping stones. So we'll see with the experiment if I can get those peas in earlier this year or not. But you never know. But just like the weatherman said, the next day, we've popped the door downstairs, and look what we got. Yeah. So we're back into my favorite time of the year, which is snow shoveling season. And this little storm here lasted for 2 days. Parts of 2 days, kind of off and on. It only snowed, I think, 4.5 inches total, but I had to shovel twice, so yeah, a couple inches each time. So it wasn't the end of the world. But the snow down here is really sneaky. You'll get smaller storms, but they're very consistent, and they just add up and add up. And if you're gone for a few days, you'll come back and you may have 4 or 6 to 8 inch snows, and then you got yourself a situation that you've got to move a lot of snow. But having the chickens back here now and helping take care of the horses, or the cows, excuse me, I need to be able to get back here, so I'm going to have to really be meticulous in shoveling that back sidewalk. And so I want to also keep the water out of the basement, so yeah, I got to pay attention. And I am spending more time down here, so hopefully I'll be down here enough to make sure that I keep everybody safe and sound. And cows are definitely drinking lots of water, but the water is frozen every day, so we got to get that broke up now. And again, the chickens don't come out of that house, but the new house, very often when it's cold like this. So, I didn't see them at all this trip. So, other than feeding them when I opened the door up and making sure they were good with food and water. But yeah, just going to take a little stroll through the yard, and you see there's it's not a ton of snow, but again, it is sneaky snow down here. And if the storms back up for a few days, you got yourself a situation. And a couple of years ago, I had literally 4.5, 5 feet of snow in my front yard. And again, if it wasn't for the neighbors with some heavier machinery, I'd have been in deep doo-doo because I was not prepared for that kind of snow. So being down here more, I think I'll be okay no matter what happens snow-wise. But all I have is a shovel down here. I do have one snowblower, small one, but it's I got to get it. I got to work on it. It's not working at the present time. So that might be a project I need to do just for my own mental and physical health, is to get that snowblower going. But again, it's not a big one, so if it's a big storm, that's not going to help me much anyway. But yeah, walking out to the orchard. Trees still have some leaves on, most of them, but they're looking good. The nectarine I planted there was that first tree, and I'm hoping it will live. It says it's good to -20, so we'll see. But I ran back down to Salt Lake for Thanksgiving, and just like I was telling you, the weather up here in Salt Lake is definitely oftentimes different than it is down at the hobby farm, being a lot lower elevation. So I was able to bag up some leaves, and the weather's nice. I was able to get the blower out and blow the patio off and clean up things a little bit. Have a lot of pruning to do here and a lot more winterization. But yeah, it was nice. It was cool, but it wasn't terribly cold. I didn't have to wear gloves. So it's, wear a stocking cap, no gloves. That's kind of the temperature. So probably high 30s, low 40s, I think it was. But yeah, still have lots of leaves, but I'm going to leave some of those in the berries. I'm not going to pick those up. I'll just let them stay for mulch and pull them in the spring. And as I showed you last time, my trees had not dropped leaves yet, the flowering pear, but they've dropped about half their leaves or a little bit more. So I probably have an equal amount of leaves to be able to rake up again, another 5 or 6 bags. So I'll have some more, but I got to collect them from my friends. So, well, there you see is the leaves didn't go all the way they needed to, but I'm just whittling away at it, and hopefully the snow melts and we can put some more leaves down. If not, I'll just bring the leaves down and just store them. And then we'll use them sometime next year to help improve the soil. But we'll see if I can get those peas in quicker. And again, the chickens are nestled in, and I won't see them again till probably spring. So there's how much snow we had, 4.5 inches. And yeah, that was the first significant snow we had. And luckily I've got 6 bags of leaves I was able to bag up for future use. So, well, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. Thank you.